Where to put inhabitable places in this vast, cavernous space, I think it's a real challenge.
My fear is they won't make the most of this generous living area. They need a vision for how they might live in it before they go any further.
So I brought them to a house today that I think shares exactly the same brief as their house. It's a modern farmhouse in a beautiful landscape, but what it does really well is create one beautiful, generous, connected living space. I think they can take lessons directly from here back to their place.
This contemporary farmhouse in Buckinghamshire was created by EcoSpace IPT architects. It cost £275k to build and was constructed in just 15 weeks. The first thing I want to show them is the cladding. If they stained their Yorkshire boarding black, they could get the same crisp exterior.
I like the way the cladding is top to bottom on this one. I really like that, and the different shades with the door entrances, they're quite deep, and the way that's cut in, I think that's really very clever.
This larch cladding was £35 a square metre, so 7 times more than their Yorkshire boarding, but they could achieve similar results. A sharp, modern silhouette in a rural setting.
Well, we're mainly here though today to talk about interiors. Why don't we go and have a look in this entrance space? I think this space is super interesting. What I like here is we have a covered threshold. You're out of the rain and wind. You know, there's a small bench here, you can kick your boots off.
Yes.
But I also think this is creating a beautiful terrace, west-facing, to dine on. And you're sort of enclosed and not just exposed to the farm. I mean, I think this is doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
By investing in the architecture, low-cost items are then easily incorporated. This table and chair set was less than £100, and the boot store and bench was knocked up from larch offcuts.
Tell me what your impression of this space is.
For me, I prefer being outside to being inside all the time, so this would absolutely work perfectly. I could put my feet up, have my beer there, and I could start to relax.
It sounds all right to me too, actually. I'll join you.
Yeah.
Let's take a look inside the walls, come on. So this is all one large, connected living space?
Light is my first impression.
It is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
The main living area is open plan, but the interior's been arranged to create zones for cooking, eating and relaxing, all linked by one flooring material. In this case, engineered oak for just £25 per square metre.
But this connected space, I mean, is this somehow how you imagine you're flowing between zones?
Yeah.
It is, almost perfectly.
Cleverly positioned furniture helps the outside become part of the inside.
And it's this west corner. So this is the evening sun, imagine that. You know, you're cooking in the evening. And Sue, sit down here for a second for me. I want you to sit here. This sort of feels like, it's a bit strange to have a sofa just facing directly out the window, but it's kind of an opportunity for you to think about, you know, you're going to have these kinds of beautiful views.
I do feel quite relaxed just sitting here. The kitchen is there, which is very functional, but then 2 steps away, you've got all this in front of you.
Absolutely. I want to show you something else about this space, because this is relaxing, this moment. But when you open this up and you realise this could be a really great place for a party, to invite friends, to dine inside and outside. I mean, is that part of your thinking for your space?
And I think the fact that we've got the situation where we've got the terraces on both sides, though that outside space will be very much part of the inside space.
Even though we've got windows everywhere, the light quality here changes the atmosphere. It's a little bit darker. You've still got the view in 2 directions. Why don't we go and try this space over here, which does feel quite relaxed. And here you have the hearth, you have the fireplace. That's also adding to the atmosphere in the evening.
You've got the view there, that's nice, but you can also, you've got the space and the length here. Yeah. Each area has got its functions.
It's the space and the openings. They are sort of speaking for themselves, really.
These windows are extremely large. I mean, the breadth of this opening is fantastic, isn't it? It does kind of define a room-like space.
I like the width of these. It makes it wider.
That's spot on, and that's a very modernist architectural idea, isn't it? The horizontal window is a way to kind of frame the landscape almost as if it's on widescreen. Yeah. There's one more space I want to show you, because it's just interesting to me because it's the darkest part of the plan. It has a bit more of the feeling of a kind of snug. You haven't got the view anymore. Yeah. The thing I'm interested in here is the idea of taking away the view, being lit by a skylight rather than by the view, and actually having a slightly more intimate, perhaps cosy, you know, movie night type area.
So you could potentially use a bookcase to cosy it up a bit.
Yeah, and these are just totally standard off-the-shelf bookcases.
This space has been defined using just 3 bookcases at £15 each. The lesson here is that if you create a great space, it can be furnished on any budget.
I think I'm absolutely in love with the place, you know. I think it's brilliant. It was the windows, the size, the proportions, the heights of the ceilings.
The colour.
The colour. That's what was important to us. I didn't even notice, to be honest, that the furniture. It was just the proportions, the simple application of everything else, basically.
Sue and Tim have reacted really well to this building. In fact, I think it's the thing I've shown them that they've liked the most. They've finally come a bit out of their shell, and particularly in Tim's case, just really enjoyed spending time in this space. The challenge, though, for Sue and Tim is reaching the standard that this building sets. This is a beautiful single space, casually and naturally zoned into very usable parts of the house, which take in the lovely view and make the most of the setting. They keep talking about wanting to do that, but I still haven't seen much evidence of how they're going to do it. So that's the real challenge, and I think this sets the bar very high for them.